Hello everybody and welcome to ThePackHub's latest Sustainable Packaging Innovations webinar. My name is Paul Jenkins and I'm Managing Director of UK Packaging Innovation Consultancy, ThePackHub. I think most of you are aware of ThePackHub and hopefully me. So what we will cover in the next, over the next just under an hour or so, very quick updates on ThePackHub and our Innovation Zone platform. We've got 25 sustainable packaging innovations to go through, and they're based on sort of four macro packaging trends of naturally done, recycling resurgence, materially changed, and refill revolution. Opportunity for questions and answers towards the end of the session, and then we'll have details of our next event. So please get your questions in. There is a box at the bottom where you can ask any questions, and I'll do my very best to answer them at the end. You will get a link to this webinar recording post-event via email, and I will endeavour to answer any outstanding questions in those outputs. So it's possible I may not have the information to hand today, but I'll do my very best to answer those questions for you, whatever they might be. So a little bit about ThePackHub. We're a leading packaging innovation consultancy focusing on packaging support and technical assistance, events both in person and obviously online, such as webinars. We also regularly publish reports. Our most recent one, Refillable and Reusable Packaging Compendium, which is available now. And we've got our sort of main product really is our Innovation Zone packaging platform. It now has over 6,400 packaging initiatives, and we upload 25 new innovations every week from around the world. And these are categorized from sort of concept to in-market launch. So we're reflecting developments across the development process, very much a global view. So we're tracking innovations across a number of different languages. So it's not just an English speaking or a UK perspective, very much a global one. So really a good way of keeping inspired, good way of getting ideas, and really keeping packaging teams up to speed with what's going on. Really essential, really, for anyone wanting to do their job. You've got to know what's going on in the market. Anyway, so over to looking at some sustainable packaging innovations that we think you might be of interest and you should know. I always say this just as a bit of a caveat, because not all the innovations are, there's a spectrum of sustainability initiatives really. So some are more sustainable than others, if that makes sense. And also some may not necessarily fulfill your business's requirements for what you define as being sustainable. But what I'm trying to do here is reflect what's going on in the market, so you can make your own choices as to what is the right thing for your business. But it's important really to see what's going on in the market so that you can make those calls. So the first innovation area is naturally done. So I've got 3 or 4 examples in this cluster. So the first one is a soap packaging initiative. It looks very different from anything you would expect a soap pack to look like. This is a concept. So this is from a Turkish designer that has developed soap packaging made from waste vegetable matter. Very much a work in progress. The product, called Confectionery, is made primarily of waste artichoke leaves, which make up around 80% of the product. This is then combined with peapod bioplastics in order to create packaging that commercial soap brands can use. To give the packaging a little colour, beetroot has been added. It is said to be fairly easy to open, either on its own. Interesting use of the word fairly easy to open, either on its own or as you tear it, or if you put under water pressure. Packaging is reported to be able to withstand being wet for about a week, after which it starts to go through the biodegradation process. The finished product has a distinctive, uncommercial look, and I think you'd agree certainly looking at that image, with a handmade rustic feel, and it's really unlike anything currently available on the market. So an interesting development that may not see commercialization in this guise, but I think it's valid and interesting to acknowledge what is going on in the market, particularly with something at such an early stages of its development. Next up is a business called Relief Paper. Now we featured this business about 18 months ago, and they're actually Ukrainian. So obviously with what's going on in that country at the moment, it's quite interesting that the startup is able to get some market traction. So they've launched a range of paper bags online that are made from fallen leaves. In a patented process, cellulose is extracted from the leaf, which is then processed into paper and ultimately paper bags in this case. The bags are available on their newly launched website, which is aimed at small to medium-sized businesses, and a range of 9 different sizes is available to buy both in the EU and the UK. Relief say that their bags are natural, biosafe, stylish and strong. And the largest ones support up to 8 kilograms of weight. The technology employed allows them to apparently reduce CO2 emissions by a reported 78% during the production of the material. The bags are said to decompose within 60 days in the right environment, and expected customers include both offline and online stores that sell things like cosmetics, clothes, handmade goods, organic food, and things like that. So quite an interesting sort of bio development using materials which is, let's face it, in plentiful supply, and once fallen from the trees has tends not to have any other use. So quite an interesting development, but whether that gets significant traction beyond paper bags remains to be seen. That's a heads up for you here. Next up is from Germany, and there's an online store called Otto, and they're conducting a pilot test on fully compostable and biodegradable shipping bags. The bags, which will be supplied by Hamburg-based startup Traceless, are made of grass paper and a bio-based plastic substitute sourced from plant waste. It is hoped that the new bags will replace the company's current recycled plastic bags. The company says that the bags will degrade in around 2 weeks. Initially, Otto will be trying 5,000 shipping bags, with the primary objective being whether the bag protects the item inside. The bags are also required to be opaque, water resistant and tear-proof. Otto uses shipping bags predominantly for textiles and robust small items, and customers who receive one of the 5,000 bags on the pilot test will not be informed in advance in order to get a more authentic and honest response when asked for their opinion. Next up is a Spanish company, and often we've got 4 trend areas, and really, if you look at a Venn diagram, there's a lot of crossover between these sustainable initiatives. So really, this could have easily been included in the forthcoming refill section that I will be talking about in a moment. But this is a Spanish company, and I've always struggled to pronounce them with any sort of justice. Reusable, sorry. I've been practicing all afternoon, I still can't get it right. They specialise in luxury wood-based packaging. So we featured this business 7, 8, 9 times, and they are basically wood packaging experts, mainly around cosmetics and the spirits markets. So they've announced the launch of Refill, which is a sustainable packaging innovation and consists of a refillable jar, as you can see, with an outer wooden layer and an inner disposable and easy to recycle plastic container. The company offers 2 wooden caps for Refill, either through their patented Reusable solution, which is the first wooden cap with a disposable plastic liner for recycling, or Rune, a monomaterial wooden cap with integrated thread. The business says that they both may be adapted and personalised to a wide variety of styles. So Refill is made with certified FSC wood helping brands commit to their social responsibility approaches in terms of the manufacture, packaging and distribution of their products. So wood is often, it's not a big packaging material nowadays, but it is used judiciously as a standout material, and it does have strong sustainable connotations with consumers. Next up is a section around recycling. So I make my apologies for focusing heavily on this subject every time we talk about sustainability, because this is a big area of activity. So here we're talking about increased recycled content. So examples of plastic packaging that has increased PCR content, and also initiatives that improve the recyclability of packaging. And a significant amount of new initiatives coming to our attention on the innovation zone are to do with recycling and recyclability. And clearly, there's a number of macro things going on in the market in terms of objectives for 2025, which is 100% recyclable packaging. Most brands and retailers are working towards some sort of strategy in that way. And also we've had plastic packs, which is encouraging the use of 30% or more recycled content. So clearly that is having an impact on the type of innovations that we're tracking. So the first up is from Borealis, and they've collaborated with two partners to produce flexible packaging incorporating 50% post-consumer recycling. The two parties are flexible packaging manufacturers Plastotecnica, based in Italy, and Finland-based Raniplast. Both companies are using new low-density polyethylene, PCR grades, developed and produced by Ecoplast, which is part of the Borealis group. The move to 50% PCR material reportedly results in a 35% carbon footprint reduction in raw material production when compared to virgin materials, whilst maintaining the same film thickness and functionality as those virgin materials. The partnerships between the companies include the manufacture of high-tech and flexible bottling and packaging lines. Borealis and Raniplast jointly developed a film structure for this more sustainable flexible packaging used for tissue paper products such as kitchen roll and toilet paper. So we're tracking an awful lot of initiatives in this area. Not the most exciting of innovations. It's a functional behind the scenes change, one that obviously reduces the amount of virgin plastic and has a carbon footprint reduction knock-on benefits. Next up is Nestlé UK, and you may have seen this in the packaging press in recent times, and they've announced major packaging innovations for two of their biggest sellers. So Kit Kat, which is apparently reportedly purchased by 6 out of 10 UK households. Certainly in our house it is. And they're moving to a wrapper made from 80% recycled plastic, using the International Sustainability and Carbon Certification, the ISCC mass balance approach. These wrappers can be recycled at more than 5,000 supermarkets across the UK and placed in household curbside recycling in the Republic of Ireland. These flexible materials aren't yet curbside recyclable in the UK and many other markets that can be done in larger supermarket stores. The rollout will begin, or has already begun, on the 2-finger pack before being extended across the entire range the year after next. In another innovation, Quality Streets, which has a big sales spike during the festive period, will move to paper packaging for their individually wrapped sweets. By replacing the double layer of foil and cellulose with a paper wrap, Quality Street will remove apparently 2 billion pieces of packaging material from the brand's supply chain. The paper wrap has a special vegetable-based coating for the paper, which does not hinder the recycling process. There's a challenge, a consumer communication challenge, in ensuring that perhaps they bundle with many of the small wrappers to together as possible to ensure that the MRF systems can actually find and locate the packaging to be recycled. Next up is a recycling initiative. So this is an in-development initiative, and this is a pilot scheme from Germany, and they've successfully recycled standard polystyrene, EPS, from yellow bag products. The yellow bag is used in Germany for plastic metals and other more difficult to recycle products, such as composite materials. In a joint project with lightweight sorting plant operators, LVPs, various tests have succeeded in separating EPS from the plastic fraction and sorting it. Critical to success was the use of innovative infrared technology, which made very targeted sorting possible. The separated EPS was then granulated and foamed in the extruder. The result is apparently a high quality recycled EPS known as REPS, rather imaginatively. Until this pilot project, separating sorting in the standard flow of packaging from the yellow bag was considered too complex and ultimately, and more importantly, not profitable for all players. This can now be refuted for the first time with the experience and knowledge gained from this project. So it looks promising that there may be a commercial solution for recycling EPS, which actually has been replaced in many examples across markets because of its lack of viable recyclability. Another recycling breakthrough is from the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, and they've developed a new plastic recycling process which can upcycle one common type of plastic into another. This is very much at the early development stages. The team have started with the most widely produced plastic in the world, PE, which, according to their figures, accounts for nearly 30% of the world's plastic consumption. A catalyst was then used to remove hydrogen from the material and create a reactive location in the chain of molecules, and then another catalyst to split the molecules at this location and cap the exposed ends. A third catalyst then shifts this reactive location along the chain so that the process can be repeated. This leaves behind molecules of propylene, which serve as the building blocks for the second most widely used plastic, polypropylene. The team say that they also have the means to scale up and implement their technology, which they calculate could result in massive reductions in global greenhouse emissions. So promises potential to be quite exciting. We do track quite a lot of these initiatives in the background, and obviously they'll all come to market. But I think it's important to reflect what's going on in terms of these types of development. So let's watch this space on that one and see if it will eventually be right. Next up is Mondelez Australia, owners of the Cadbury chocolate brand, and they've announced that they are rolling out packaging that contains 30% recycled plastic. So I mentioned at the beginning of the section about the the increase in recycled content, and this is another good example driven by other factors in the market. The new, more sustainable packaging will be used on its family box range of Cadbury Dairy Milk, Carrot Milk, and Old Gold, and it's very much in line with, I think, they did some tests, a small pilot last year, and this really is that's validated that the idea, and it's now being rolled out on a much wider and bigger scale. The company says that the move will see them reduce more than 120 tonnes of packaging waste diverted from landfill. They also say that the new packaging looks and feels the same, which I think is a very important consumer consideration, particularly in the confectionery and chocolate category. It carries Cadbury's iconic purple colour, and it seemingly everything is the same in terms of how the chocolate tastes and its texture and its shape. The new packs also feature an on-pack QR code, leading Cadbury consumers to more information on the packaging innovation and how Cadbury is supporting a circular economy for packaging. Cadbury has sourced 120 tons of recycled content from overseas, indicating a demand for recycled soft plastic packaging produced locally in Australia. So there's a big challenge for that market to sustainably create their own recycled content. The first pack to include recycled soft plastic has been delivered to major retailers in recent times. Another chocolate example in this section, so this is Mars US, and they've announced that it's launching confection jars that contain 15% PCR post-consumer recycled PET. The new jars were developed in collaboration with Reusable. The easy grip square jars are available in 3 sizes and will eliminate approximately 300 tons of virgin plastic each year. Mars was pledged to reach 100% recyclable packaging, like many businesses, by 2025, and as we're heading into 2023, that long-term view is suddenly quite close on the horizon, and is investing, as you would expect, hundreds of millions of dollars to redesign its packaging as necessary. As well as the addition of 15% PCR PET, Berry was also able to reduce the weight of the large jars by 10 grams each, which the company said will save 374 metric tons of carbon dioxide annually. Berry says that this alone is equivalent, and this is quite specific, but equivalent of over 42,000 gallons of petrol consumed, or over 45 million smartphones charged. So quite good to have an analogy with it, something we can all relate to. And the last one in this section is a detergent packaging made from beverage carton waste. So a collaboration between 3 German companies in this case has resulted in a prototype detergent packaging made from multi-layer beverage carton waste. The prototype is made possible by a promising new technology. Saporetek's extended mechanical recycling process for thin layer composite materials, which leads to new recyclers. The 2-layer construction is made entirely of PE, with the inner seaming layer being made with more than 50% PCR, LDPE, made from beverage carton waste. The outer layer is laminated with Henkel's adhesive to optimize for recyclability, and overall the packaging will contain at least 35% LD PE PCR, which is in line with proposed recommendations for the EU non-food packaging directive. The prototype was developed by Saporetek, a developer of recycling processes for composite packaging made of different materials. The next section, and we've got 4 sections. This is section 3, materially change. So this is really sort of switching from one material into another. The last few years, we've seen a lot of switching out of plastic into other materials, but it isn't exclusively that. There are other ways of achieving those goals. And as I said at the beginning, this is a Venn diagram, so you might see an innovation here. Well, actually, that could also be in another section. But that's fine. That's how sustainability works. Often they tick more than one box. So this is Modivo, which is a Polish online fashion brand, and they've announced that they have introduced a new packaging solution called Papieropaki, which is a new paper-based format, and it's to take the place of the previous plastic packaging. Customers are starting to receive their orders in mailer bags made of craft paper, which is a renewable resource. The packaging comes from a local supplier, is prepared according to the criteria of sustainable development, and is recyclable. The bags are available in 3 sizes and are adjusted to the weight of the individual product. The new packaging is used across all of the products that Modivo sells, except for products that are too heavy and could tear the paper bags and potentially damage the goods. So this is not a wholesale solution. There are some applications where paper isn't fit for purpose. The mailers are made of a raw material that is recyclable, and depending on the thickness and addition, will decompose within a few months. Now we travel to the UK, and this is a Sainsbury's that have switched all of their own label coffee pods from plastic to aluminium. Sainsbury's was the first UK retailer to label its own brand aluminium coffee pods as recyclable last year. Before this, it was widely believed that aluminium coffee pods were too small to be recycled at curbside and needed to be recycled by a specialist collection scheme. The company says that to recycle the pods, all customers need to do is empty the pods with a teaspoon, rinse them and place them in their usual curbside recycling. Alternatively, Sainsbury's says that customers can purchase a Julets EcoPress from Sainsbury's in store or online, and this device ensures that coffee is separated and removed from the aluminium and ready to be recycled. The supermarket giant claims that the new range, which will be rolled out this month, will help save an estimated 10 million pieces of plastic each year. And it's interesting that some of these recycling initiatives do require a little bit of consumer effort. So in this case, they either need to clean out the residual coffee from the pods or separate and remove them from the aluminium for recycling. So we are relying on motivated consumers to do that. German detergent and cleaning product manufacturer Werner and Nett have collaborated with Reusable to develop a lightweight, fully recyclable spray head for its brush brand. The spray head is fully recyclable because it consists of only one group of plastics, and that's why it can materially change, because we're moving out of a mixture of materials into one. So the spray head is fully recyclable because it consists of just one group of plastics. 97.6% are made of polypropylene, and only the valves, which make up the remaining 2.4% of the total weight, are made of PE. Both polymers can be assigned to one polymer group and are mixable in recycling in the German market. Also, 29% of the pump mechanism is made from recycled material. The weight of the spray head has also been reduced to a minimum. It is claimed that the lightest spray is the lightest spray pump of its kind, weighing 18% less than commercially available triggers on the German market. The spray pump is also said to be more powerful than its predecessor model and managed to manage at least 5,000 pumping strokes, making it suitable for reuse applications. So quite an interesting mix of benefits there. So it's offering improved recyclability, increased functionality, lightweighting, and also the ability to be reused because it's such a robust solution. Spanish honey producer Luna de Miel has announced that it's moving its Miel de Flores, which is a blossom honey, to 100% recyclable board container. The board used for the pack has the FSC and PFC, which is the program for the endorsement of forest certification approvals, to guarantee to the consumer that the entire manufacturing process from the carrier to the distributor has been carried out using raw materials obtained sustainably, as well as the board being certified. The inks used to print the container are solvent-free mineral inks, and the company says that the new board container is 10 times lighter than a conventional glass container, which would in turn help to reduce the carbon footprint of the product. The honey is available in the Spanish market at a sale price of €7.49 for a 750 gram fully recyclable pouch. Next up, and the last section, is refill revolution. So the refill market continues to expand. As I mentioned, we've recently done a report in that area, which is a good way of sort of assessing where things are at the moment. There's certainly lots of developmental work, lots of concepts, lots of pilots, and have some interesting examples to show you now. So this is a New York-based business, men's body care company called Bravo Sierra, and they were set up in 2018 to show appreciation for serving and retired American servicemen. And they've announced the launch of a new pack so that consumers can refill their existing Bravo Sierra body wash bottles to eliminate excess waste. The refill cans which resemble beer cans, as you can see, are made with 100% recyclable aluminium, which the brand claims makes, they claim it makes it the most sustainable and convenient way to use Bravo Sierra body wash. The body wash is available at a price of $7.50, so that's about £6.65, depending on what day of the week you look at our exchange rate. 5% of the sales are donated to a range of community support and quality of life programs and non-profits dedicated to serving military families and veterans. And businesses are also committed to hiring veterans company-wide as part of their business ethos. Just think it's quite interesting that we're seeing lots of refill packs. It's quite an interesting pack format, lightweight, quite an unusual pack to see in the bathroom environment, but an established pack format. It's not resealable. Lots of pros and cons for that, but certainly a standout execution. Now we travel from the US to London, and this is a beer delivery service called Draft Drop, and they partnered with Spa and Eat 17 to start a trial in one store for refillable beer bottles. So under the trial, which began at the end of August, customers were charged a premium of £1.50 per bottle, which is then returned to the customer once the bottle is returned to the store. The Draft Drop said that depending on the success of the trial, it would extend to other independent retailers. The trial originally started at a £1 deposit, but was subsequently increased to £1.50. I guess there was challenges around return rates, and that's why that went up 50%. The company says the early sales have been strong, and they are seeing returns already. And the group has 4 stores in other parts of London. So quite interesting to see if that rolls out. I mean, obviously draft beer is available in bars and pubs, but in store sales tends to be in various pack formats. So, you know, is there a way of taking that pack format out in terms of this delivery service? Challenges around spillage and under 18s accessing the dispensing and things like that. So not without its challenges, but just a heads up really in terms of where the market is moving on a very micro scale. Next up is a reusable drinks cup with a difference. It's got a unique patented feature called spill safe. So this topple cup, if it's accidentally knocked over, the patented safety valve shuts responsibly to ensure no mess, keeping the drinks intact. The consumer simply twists, pushes the disc lid and drinks. By locking the lid, the consumer by locking the lid, the leak-proof design keeps the leftover liquid inside the coffee cup, and a topple can be used from any angle as a ceramic cup could be. The drinks will stay hot for up to 3 hours or ice cold for up to 6 hours. But the cup is always cool to the touch due to its stainless steel double wall. So available in a number of colours, and the price is well, you pay a price for the convenience of not spilling. So the 2 sizes are £27 and £29 respectively. So that's well over $30 US for a reusable cup. So perhaps in these hard times of economic downturn, that is quite a niche offering, but you know, an interesting one. And I always look at these innovations and think, well, it's being done in a reusable cup. How could a non-spill technology be used in other on-the-go applications? So I think that's why it's good to highlight some of these initiatives. Now, next up we have Walmart, and they're joining the Loop scheme. We've reported on the reusable Loop program over the last 2 or 3 years, and the most recent announcement has been the sort of termination of the pilot in Tesco, and in our interview with Tesco in our reusable and refillable compendium, they go into detail as to the success of the scheme and why it's ended. So that's of good interest. So here we have Walmart, as I say, joining the party, part of their in-home grocery delivery service. Customers in 2 areas of Arkansas can now buy a limited assortment of products in refillable containers and have them delivered to their homes via Walmart Plus in-home. After consumers use the products, they place the empty containers in a designated spot inside or outside their homes for a Walmart associate to retrieve. The containers are then sent to Loop to be, as I think you all know how this works now, be sanitized and returned to participating brands to then be refilled and returned to store for future processes. Walmart Plus in-home enables customers to have fresh groceries and other essentials delivered to their location of choice and dropped off at doorsteps, etc. So it fits nicely with sort of an e-commerce in door drop-off delivery. The Loop Tesco scheme was actually in store, so there's sort of 2 ways of delivering this Loop reusable pre-fill solution. So we will very small scale for a business of Walmart's size, and we'll watch its progress and development with great interest, and we'll obviously report back. Following a successful pilot scheme, the German arm of IKEA has formed a partnership with Recup, who we've mentioned and featured 2 or 3 times in the past, to introduce reusable cups and bowls in all of its restaurants in the 54 stores in Germany. The pilot scheme was conducted in 3 stores, and the system works simply with a deposit where customers pay a €1 fee when buying a drink in the Recup and a €5 deposit for food in the Reusable. I think it needs to make it clear this isn't for in restaurant consumption. This is for effectively takeaway, buying product and then taking it away for at-home consumption or on-the-go consumption. So otherwise you could just use reusable containers in the restaurant. This is very much about taking the product away from IKEA. So after enjoying the beverage and food, the empty containers can then be returned to one of nearly 13,000 partners, Recup partners throughout Germany, and the deposit refunded. IKEA stores will also have deposit machines where the Recups can be easily returned. And IKEA says that during the pilot scheme, by using the Recup facility, it has prevented over 18,000 single-use beverage cups from going to the landfill. So they basically done 18,000 sales. Right, we now travel from Germany to Malaysia. This is a startup that is hoping to encourage takeaway customers to start using their reusable returnable containers when they order their takeouts. To order with Tupperware, customers first need to register as a user via its website. After paying a returnable about £5.80 deposit, so quite high, they then become an official member. From there, members can use their user ID to get food delivered in a reusable container, but only with participating restaurant partners. And for now, there are only 2 of those partners, companies called Spargo Eats and Loop Foods. Users have 14 days to return the container to various collection points. Customers who don't return the borrowed containers during that period will forfeit their deposit and will need to re-register to be a user again. So quite a punitive set of rules there, with a high deposit and a high peril if you go over those like that 2-week period. We're all consumers, we're all human, and for me, that is fraught with challenges about people just not playing the game. But I suppose if reusable packaging is going to work, we have to get compliant, we have to encourage compliant consumption somehow. Bernie is a French startup, and they provide businesses and consumers with reusable and returnable packaging. The model works on a deposit system. Again, when the customer buys products in a supermarket setting, For example, in the deli section, instead of using single-use plastic container, they can choose to take their product from one of these Bernie stainless steel containers. The trays are stackable and have been designed to have a heat sealable lid if required. I'm not sure if that heat sealability can be done in store. I doubt it. So maybe they're pre-filled in store, pre-delivery. They have a QR code on them for tracking purposes. When the customer has finished with the container, it is returned to the supermarket where customers then deposit returned. I guess if you're a regular user, and I've always had this challenge with reusable packaging, the whole deposit thing, if you're always doing this, you kind of never really get the deposit back. So you always sort of owe that money. And I suppose that is a small commitment, a long-term permanent commitment to participating in this type of scheme. The trays are then taken to a washing centre, cleaning before being returned to the system. The trays have an estimated life of 100 reuses before being recycled, and the scheme is in use at several supermarkets in the northwest of France. So it'll be interesting to see how that particular initiative develops. Okay, another example of a similar area. So this is startup and repeat, and we've featured this business, Swedish business, 2 or 3 times in recent occasions, and they've formed a partnership to introduce a deposit scheme with a sushi chain, and from September, food from all 70 sushi Yama restaurants will now be ordered with at repeat reusable packaging. When customers use the scheme, they will find the QR code on the already recyclable packaging. When the customer scans the code with the mobile phone, there are instructions on how to store packaging. And in terms of the payment comes in the form of credits in at-repeat's digital wallet and could be used to buy a new sushi meal or a means of payment in one of approximately 700 restaurants that are currently connected to at-repeat. So a different way of incentivizing consumer participation. Okay, the penultimate innovation today is from Germany, and this is a returnable packaging system aimed at e-commerce market. The drive to make the change was due to the rate that the business feels a company called Kreis, and they were worried about the amount of forest being felled, so they decided that part of the solution would be the introduction of reusable and returnable shipping boxes rather than being single use. The company says that their boxes are made of 100% recycled material, are more stable than comparable boxes, and are easy to correct. There is a flap incorporated in the design, which you can see in the image, to make returning easier, and it's FSC certified, as you would expect and hope. They also say that their system is fully traceable via an app, and the return system is available to any customer. Through the app, returning boxes can be incentivized. They are calculated, reaching a break-even point after the first reuse. It is reported that if all 4.5 billion shipments were sent with their box and only reused a second time, Germany would save over 330,000 tons of CO2 per year. Now, clearly, they're not going to have 4.5 billion shipments sent, but I think that just shows you the scale of potential prize in this case. Okay, last one, 25 to 25. So Wonder is a Belgian natural body care brand that began by selling solid shampoo and shower bars, noting that not every consumer is ready to move to solid bars. They've recently shifted onto a new product, which was the subject of a Kickstarter program. The new development is a powder-based product in which the consumer adds water and then shakes a specially designed bottle to turn the product into a shampoo or shower gel. Now, over the years, we've tracked quite a few of these water-free initiatives where water is added at the point of consumption, and this is another good example. Silicone was chosen for the bottled material as it is long-lasting and is also suitable for dishwashers. The cheapest starter pack retails at €37, which is around about £32.50. It contains 2 refillable bottles, a 500ml shampoo refill, and a 500ml body wash refill. The refill pouches are made from paper with a PNA coating and can reportedly be composted at home. And the range comes in 3 cents. So that is the end of the innovations. I can see we've got some questions, so I would be delighted to answer them if I can. And if I can't, I will do some further research and get those answers to you as part of the outputs. The first question is, was there a reason KitKat moved to plastic when they originally packaged their product in a foil and paper, which was perceived as more recyclable by the consumer? Unfortunately, I can only second guess, and I wouldn't want to do that, Nestlé's motivations to move that way. It's hard, that's a hard one to answer without sort of having an inside knowledge on that. Certainly, the foil and paper, from a consumer point of view, is a wonderful sort of experience in terms of that break time and putting your thumb through the foil and breaking a finger off. The move to plastic takes away a lot of that so-called theatre. So for me personally, that was a disappointment. The business has a drive to deliver recyclable plastic. So if that is at the expense of getting rid of foil and paper, it's impossible for me to second guess, I'm afraid. Have any of these naturally done packages got any LCA studies to bear out their statements? Do you feel packaging makers interested in backing up green or environmental statements with hard data? That's a really good question. We're seeing a lot more LCA studies and sort of supporting evidence being delivered as part of the promotion of the said activities, a lot more. But I'm always suspicious when there is no mention of LCA studies, what that sort of may indicate in terms of the so-called green credentials of that product. So we're certainly seeing more hard data. There's no hard and fast rules. There's no need for people at the moment to support their initiatives with, hard data of that type. Maybe that will change, but as I say, we're certainly seeing more examples, but it's certainly not the case that it's happening everywhere. Is the recycled BOPP material food contact safe? Pyrolysis, I need to check those 2 questions on that, so I will come back and link her and find out that for you. So I'm just seeing if there are any more questions. Yes, there are. They keep adding as I'm speaking. So if the size of the coffee pod is the problem, how will removing the coffee help? The pod will still be rejected with the small items when it reaches a MRF, won't it? That is a good question. It sounds like from the research we've done that it sounds like it's been almost like a breakthrough in realization that the pods actually, despite being small, will go through the curbside recycling process. But as we know in the UK, there are so many different variables where not every authority will accept them, and some, even when some will accept aluminium, they won't be able to accept it at that size. So that, I think that needs a bit of clarification. What I might do is just do a bit more research for that, and I will come back with a bit more of a defined and knowledgeable wording on why the small item can now be recycled in curbside when they couldn't up until recently. The name of the German packaging company, it depends. The company, if it's referring to this one, they're called the Kurstkreis. So WIRKRKREIS. K-I-S-T-E-K-R-E-I-S. And I apologise for the appalling German pronunciation. I will put that in the outputs so that we've that you've got that, and I'll include a link as well. So I'll just do a reminder to do that. I'll just check to see if we've got any more questions. And I think that is it for now. Thank you all very much for your attention and your attendance. It's really appreciated. We'll be back again in November with some more innovations. Date to be confirmed. But I'd just like to thank you again for your time. As I said at the beginning, we will be this video recording will be shared with you within the next 24 hours and will be available to watch on YouTube if you should wish to watch again or share with any of your colleagues. So again, thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to speaking with you or in due course. Thank you.